LoveLore Library. Chapter 691, Set Afire. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing's fingers that were initially stroking Qing Han's head stiffened. She lowered her eyes and stared at the little girl in front of her. Where did you set the fire? At the Liu family. Feng Ruqing suddenly felt sorry for the Liu family. This was already the nth time. The Liu family might not be able to rebuild the manor again in this life. Qing Han, your grandma Sui, was not that kind of person before. You better not mislead her. Sui was a fairy-like person. Setting a fire was only a behavior suited to Xiao Yin. She should never do this kind of thing. Come on, let's go to Paramount and get my spirit herbs back. In this half a year, Paramount should have earned a lot of spirit herbs from Gui's hands. Now that she had achieved Dark Warrior tier, it would take some time for the spirit herbs to grow. It just happened that Fu Qin and Qing Han needed some higher-graded spirit herbs. Sponsored content. Hence, she had only used the spirit herbal dish at that time to earn a grade 5 spirit herb from Gui. Just as Feng Ruqing walked into Paramount, she was stunned by the house that was filled to the brim with many things even though she was psychologically prepared. Jiao Ming stared at the girls gawking. He then grinned. I have kept those things that the girl has used to exchange with the herbal dish here. Xiao Qinger, you may bring them back now, or, Feng Ruqing's face darkened. She then stepped into the storeroom. In this room, there were dozens of boxes neatly arranged. There were 6 types of grade 6 spirit herbs in these boxes other than the grade 5 spirit herbs. But these were no longer able to stir up Feng Ruqing's heart. Just because. There was a bed in front of these spirit herbs. Sponsored content. Next to the bed was a tree surrounded by many flowers. Furthermore, there were antique tea sets too. This room had everything. Did Gui move her whole house here? When Feng Ruqing's eyes swept through the room, her gaze rested on a painting. The painting was a man whose appearance could not be seen clearly. The man's face seemed to be deliberately blurred. He stood atop the clouds and mists. He was dressed in white as if he was coming from the sky. There was a silver vertical streak between his eyebrows that did not suit his fairy-like aura. However, it was more like a deceiving spirit. His hair was half white and half black. Somehow, at this moment, Feng Ruqing's heart seemed to ache. She could not help but reach out to stroke the man's white hair. Sponsored content. In the corner was a line of words. 9 cycles of lives looking for the world. There is no regret in the afterlife. The painting style was the 9th Emperor. The 9th Emperor. Feng Ruqing had heard Fu Qin mention this name several times. She had even encountered the 9th Emperor's residence by chance in the Forest of Spirit Beasts. But she did not expect to find the 9th Emperor's painting here again. Xiao Qinger. Jiao Ming's placed his hand on Feng Ruqing's shoulders. He looked deeply at the man in the painting. He then stared at the girl in front of him. What happened? Nothing. You're crying. I'm fine. Feng Ruqing's fingers lightly rubbed the man on the painting and her eyes narrowed. I will take away this painting and the spirit herbs. As for other things, please help me return to Gui. She must get this painting by all possible means. Because she had felt something the moment she saw the painting. She even had a vision. As if she had been in the world for many years just to look for this one person in this vast world. Chapter 692, Is Qin Chen her younger brother? 2. She could not forget the pain. She could not give the painting up. Okay. Jiao Ming smiled. Little girl, do you remember? I told you before that your brother was in Tianshan Manor. Now my people have entered Tianshan Manor and discovered a secret. Tianshan Manor's Qin family brought a child back from the secular world 17 years ago. Feng Ruqing looked up and stared squarely at Jiu Ming. At this moment, her breath shallowed as she was filled with excitement, forgetting all the heartache and sorrow that she felt just now. Is he my brother? Jiu Ming grinned and touched Feng Ruqing's head. The people of Tianshan Manor are arrogant. They will never let any outsider enter their family. However, that child was adopted by the Qin family's master. I am not sure whether he is your brother, he paused and continued. The news I got was that the child's biological parents had abandoned him. They had even nearly killed him. It was the Qin family who had passed by and had mercy on him. Thus, they had brought him back. Feng Ruqing's eyes were cold. Are these words said by the Qin family? Yes, it is said by the people of the Qin family. No one knows how true it is. Jiu Ming's eyes narrowed as he smiled. Nonetheless, Tianshan Manor is different from other forces. Tianshan Manor is a closed place. It does not have much contact with the outside world. It is extremely difficult to find out more about Tianshan Manor. However, 2 of your acquaintances were from Tianshan Manor, no? Feng Ruqing slowly turned her head. I won't let Sui and Nan Xian participate in this matter. Tianshan Manor is a nightmare for them. They had just woken up from the nightmare, there is no need for them to go in again. I won't let the 2 of them go back to Tianshan Manor again. Nan Xian did not have much affection for Tianshan Manor. Even if that manor was once his nightmare, he had left when he was 4 years old. So, it would not have much influence on him. But Sui could not. The Mu family had hurt her too deeply. She would not let Sui go back to that kind of place just to get some information. Me for extra chapters. Jiu Ming laughed. I had expected you to do so, so you don't have to worry about it. I will do my best to help you. These are what I have found for now, but I don't understand why the Qin family has adopted a son. Feng Ruqing slightly narrowed her eyes. She did not understand it either. Why the Qin family adopted a child? If that child was really her brother, then he was forcibly removed from the palace. What was the purpose of doing so, and for what? Jiu Ming, help me find out why the Qin family adopted a child. And also, what's the child's name, okay? I will continue the investigation. Jiu Ming smiled. But my men have already found out the child's name. His name is Qin Qin. Just as Feng Ruqing wanted to fill the spirit herb box that she had just picked up, her hands suddenly trembled after hearing Jiu Ming's words. The box slipped from her palms, falling to the ground as a muffled sound came out of her mouth. What did you just, what's the child's name? Her voice trembled uncontrollably and she stared closely at Jiu Ming. She was breathing heavily as she enunciated each and every word. Qin Qin. Qin Qin, these 2 words got Feng Ruqing's heart like a bunch of tangled threads. This name had also made her lose her composure. Her brain became blank and her face turned terribly pale. Chapter 693, Does your family treat you well? Sponsored content, pretty well. Then I am relieved. Chainer, if your family doesn't treat you well, you can come back anytime you want. This is also your home. Don't worry, Shao Qing. I used to have nothing, so I don't care about anything. Now, I have you. I will cherish myself. Qin Chen's words when he previously left replayed themselves like a broken record in her mind again and again. She chose not to ask Qin Chen regarding his family to respect him. As long as he lived well, that was enough. Sponsored content. She had always understood that they had relied on each other when they were in Huaxia. However, they both had their own families when they came to Tsangyu mainland. How could she be selfish and keep him to herself forever? But now that someone had told her that Qin Chen was just the adopted son of the Qin family and that it was more likely that he was her biological brother. Xiao Qing'er, I'm not very sure about this. Give me some time, I will investigate everything and report to you. Believe me. Jiu Ming was very distressed seeing Feng Ruqing in this state. His hand involuntarily approached Feng Ruqing's waist as he wanted to try to pull her into his embrace. Suddenly, a bitter blast swept across the room. As Jiu Ming was paying attention to Feng Ruqing, he did not notice it. It was not until her leg kicked him that he gradually bent down, holding his lower abdomen tightly. His face turned red as he gnashed his teeth. Xiao Qing'er, you are a woman who repays kindness with enmity. Feng Ruqing was embarrassed. I didn't mean it. My body just reacts out of impulse, really. That was its own reaction. I couldn't control it. Sponsored content. Jiu Ming's face was as dark as the bottom of the pot. He just wanted to appease the little girl. But he was kicked before he could even touch her. If the kick was a little lower, that would have been the end of his family line. I didn't mean it. My body reacts impulsively whenever someone touches me. You must believe me. The corners of his lips twitched. Believe her. He believed that she was evil. Those girls come to greet you every time you come to Paramount. Why didn't you have such a natural reaction? This woman clearly intended to do it. Sponsored content. Oh, the girls are delicate and tender. How could I be so rude to them? Moreover, my body does not react like this toward them. It is beyond my control, Feng Ruqing said solemnly. Jiu Ming's face grew even darker. Can't be rude to girls. How many girls have you mistreated? Jiu Ming also understood that the women who had been mistreated by Feng Ruqing stewed in their own juices. Feng Ruqing was usually really gentle to the ordinary girls. Where is Nan Xian? Why didn't you have such an uncontrollable reaction when he touched you? Jiu Ming was already determined to believe that she did it on purpose anyway. She really wanted his line to end. Feng Ruqing smiled. She was pleased and delighted. That's my state preceptor, how can you compare with him? I will accept it no matter how he touches me and I will not hit him. Jiu Ming was speechless. He could no longer feel the pain in his lower abdomen, but only a sudden sadness. Jiu Ming also knew that Feng Ruqing had recovered from the news just now just by watching her smile. He was quietly relieved. The kick was also worth it. Remember to return the things to Guiyi for me. I will take my leave now. Chapter 694. Feng Ruqing took everything and walked out of the storeroom. She waved to Jiu Ming with her back facing him and left without looking back. Sponsored content. Her face sank the moment she stepped out of Paramount. She then looked up and stared at the sky. Chainer. I'm going to find you. Regardless of the price. If you are well, then it's fine. I will bring never-ending chaos to Tianshan Manor if they hurt you even a little bit. Feng Ruqing exhaled slowly. She then turned around and walked down the street. Sponsored content. Suddenly, a strong wind came from not far away. Feng Ruqing raised her eyes and saw a fat girl who was about 130 pounds running quickly toward her. Feng Ruqing's head turned blank again. She immediately stretched out her leg and kicked the girl. Boom! The fat girl did not expect that and rolled over a few times on the floor before stopping. Tang Yin, who was behind the fat girl, was dumbfounded. She was relieved that she did not run to Feng Ruqing before her. She never had a chance to rush to her. That was why she had escaped the disaster this time. Who are you? Feng Ruqing looked down at the girl who had fallen to the ground and asked coldly. She would not mind the women that she was familiar with rushing toward her. However, if a stranger rushed toward her, she would definitely not let the people come close. Sponsored content. Gui was stunned. She stared blankly at Feng Ruching. Did you forget me? Feng Ruching had lost contact with the outside world for the past 6 months due to her cultivation. She rarely came out, but she often followed Xiao Yin to the Princess Manor. Feng Ruching had never forgotten her even though she had never seen her. It had only been half a year, but Feng Ruching had already forgotten her. Do I know you? Sponsored content. The girl's face was unfamiliar, and she made no impression at all. Moreover, there was only one fat person that she knew, which was Gui. Feng Ruching suddenly recalled something. She saw Gui half a year ago. Now half a year had passed. Gui was definitely not the 250-pound fat girl anymore. Therefore, the girl in front of her now must be Gui. Gui. That 250-pound beauty. Gui stood up with a sense of grievance. I remembered you for so long, why did you forget me? Girl, can't you talk properly? Why do you call yourself a 250-pound beauty? The herbal dishes that you have provided me with are really effective. Gui smiled. I have lost a lot of weight in the last 6 months. My father will be surprised when I go home the next time. The current Gui was still a little fat. She still had chubby cheeks, but she was definitely looked better than before when she was around 250 pounds. Oh, I remember that you came to look for someone. Have you found the person? Feng Ruching asked. After hearing her words, Gui said angrily, don't mention that scumbag. Xiao Yin was right. All the men in this world are bastards. It is better to find a woman to live with. Feng Ruching's eyes slowly turned to Tang Yin. What did you teach her? Tang Yin pouted. I'm not wrong. Yi's fiancé was too extreme. He is a total bastard. Yi did the right thing to ask him to break off the engagement. By the way, Yi, you still haven't told me your fiancé's name. Chapter 695, I don't want to talk about it. Gui did not want to care about it. It seemed that she would eat 10 pounds of pig's trotters because of her hatred toward that name. Sponsored content. So, she looked at Feng Ruching's face. She did not know why it was different. She hated beautiful people so much before, just like how she hated Qin Feier from the Qin family. But, not anymore since she met Feng Ruching. She realized that looking at beautiful people could be so satisfying. I like it. Feng Ruching was hesitant for a while. Gui, it's better if you don't mingle with Tang Yin so much. So, you won't be influenced by her. By the way, the state preceptor told me that Tang Yin likes my cousin. So, I plan to hold a wedding for them after some time. Tang Yin's facial expression changed drastically. Sponsored content. That vixen Nan Xian. He did it again. He has suggested his little ideas to Feng Ruching again. I don't want to get married yet. Xiao Yin, Feng Ruching patted Tang Yin's shoulder. Just relax and wait to be the young general's wife. Don't worry. If my cousin bullies you in the future, I will never keep quiet about it. She gave a meaningful smile when she finished talking. Then, she walked away from Tang Yin. Tang Yin froze like a stone in the wind. She recovered her senses when she realized that Feng Ruching had left her sight. Xiao Yin, am I still very fat? Gui glanced at her own body. She gritted her teeth and said, I won't eat any more of the pig's trotters starting from today. I want to slim down in the shortest time possible. Then, will she look at me more? Tang Yin was sad. You can slim down. But, what do I do about my small breasts? She won't give me any spirit herbs dishes to grow my breasts. Moreover, Sui is very beautiful, isn't she? There are so many beautiful people in Paramount. But Xiaoqing has only eyes for that wild man. Gu Yi subconsciously took out a pig's trotters. She brought it near her mouth and bit into it. Suddenly, she remembered the promise that she had made to herself just now. She immediately spat the meat out. Sponsored content. You're always talking about that wild man. Who is he? I have gone to the Princess Manor so many times and I have never met him. That wild man is a vixen. It's better if he doesn't show up. If he's there, we won't be able to enter the Princess Manor at all. Tang Yin sneered. That's why I have to ask you to be my comrade. Then, we can beat that wild man and successfully become Xiaoqing's women. That wild man is powerful. I cannot beat him alone. Hence, Tang Yin had spent half a year trying to influence Gu Yi. Moreover, Gu Yi adored Feng Ruqing at first. After Tang Yin's influence, they became comrades with the same mission in lives. I was just too naive before. That was why I had fought alone. There are so many of us now. We can now compete for her attention and love. Even that wild man will not be able to beat us. Tang Yin became prouder of herself when she thought about her plans. She was feeling great. She held her small face with both of her hands. It seemed that she was imagining the days when they could beat Nan Xian at last. Sponsored content. Gu Yi's eyes widened at that. Really? Will Xiaoqing accept us? All men are pigs. They are nothing compared to Xiaoqing. Moreover, Xiaoqing is both beautiful and gentle. She doesn't even dislike me because of my plumpness. She even cares about me so much. So, she's much better than those men. Faith moves mountains. I believe that we'll succeed one day. Tang Yin held out her hand. Gu Yi clenched her hands. At that moment, they became comrades in an alliance. The name of their alliance was Beat the Vixen, Nan Xian. Mu Ling, who was currently at Tianshan Manor, did not know that the fiancé he had found for Nan Xian had betrayed his trust. He just knew that the manor master had asked somebody to deliver him the news. Gu Yi was unwilling to marry Nan Xian. Chapter 696, We have agreed upon that. Why did she change her mind all of a sudden? Sponsored content. He had even made up a lie where Nan Xian admired Gu Yi so that Gu Yi would agree to marry him. He did not even have time to persuade Nan Xian to return to the Mu family and marry Gu Yi. Yet, Gu Yi had rejected that marriage herself. Go and look into it. Why did Gu Yi break off the engagement? It's impossible that Gu Yi would break off the engagement without any apparent reason. There must be something that I'm unaware of. The manor master did not even mention it to me. I've got nowhere to look into. Chen Qingyan took out a handkerchief gently and helped wipe away the sweat on Mu Ling's forehead. Her voice was gentle and soft. Brother Ling, what do you think? Do you think that Nan Xian has done something? She has left the Tianshan Manor not long ago and she said that she wanted to go and look for Nan Xian. Now, she wants to break off the engagement. Sponsored content. Mu Ling narrowed his eyes. He seemed cold and distant. It seems that I really need to meet with Nan Xian. I'll ask him to go and meet with Gu Yi. Gu Yi is ugly and she will definitely fall for Nan Xian if he approaches her on his own initiative. I'll definitely make it happen. The arranged marriage between the manor master's family and my family. I'll never give up. Chen Qingyan lowered her eyes and hid her soft smile. Gu Yi went and looked for Nan Xian. It's impossible that she did not notice it. She must have found out about the truth that Nan Xian has some other girl with him. She would feel humiliated and that was probably the reason why she had broken off the engagement in the first place. In fact, How could Gui allow such thing to happen to her given that she's quite arrogant? Sponsored content in case Gui becomes infuriated and kills that girl. That'll be much better. If that's the case, Nansien would totally reach an impasse with her. He'll hate her for the rest of his life. Then, there's no more possibility of them having an arranged marriage. Chen Qingyan still appeared worried no matter what her inner thoughts were. Brother Ling, I think that there must be some misunderstanding. Gui is just taking things the wrong way. When she could understand the situation better, she'll surely realize what a good man Nansien is. Fine. Mu Ling's facial expression became much better. Sponsored content. Qingyan is different from the other women. The other ordinary women would only infuriate me more at such a moment. But Qingyan is always so considerate. Moreover, she defends Nansien too. Qingyan, Mu Ling could not help but pull Chen Qingyan into his embrace. I treat Nansien nicely because he's talented. The Mu family needs him. But the one I like the most is still Xier. Chen Qingyan put her finger on Mu Ling's lips. Brother Ling, you don't have to talk like that. Xiener is your son and for sure he's my son too. I'm his stepmother. I'll surely wish the best for him his lifetime. Mu Ling hugged Chen Qingyan even tighter. Qingyan, the Mu family needs your guard and care. I need to leave for a while to go and meet up with Nansien. If not, he won't ever listen if others talk to him instead of me. These past few years, Nansien did not bother about him. Mu Ling asked the others to go and persuade him to return to the Mu family. But he never heeded it. However, Nansien gave a message to Mu Yong the last time he asked Mu Yong to persuade Nansien to return to the Mu family. Nansien claimed that he would be waiting for Mu Ling in Luyun Kingdom. If that's the case, I need to go there myself. I hope that Nansien will take the initiative to pursue Gui for my sake. Now, the old man's sickness could not be hidden any longer. Nansien was still quite young. It was almost impossible for Nansien to achieve a higher tier in his cultivation even if he could progress very fast. So, the current Mu family needed Tianshan Manor's protection. Initially, I wanted Nansien to marry Tang Yin. Tang Yin's body is special and her potential is not yet fully discovered yet. Well, ask the manor master to let Nansien take Gui as his concubine when Nansien is much stronger in the future. Chapter 697. It's a pity. Sponsored content. Tang Yin's rebellion has ruined my whole plan. We had no choice but to let Nansien take Gui as his wife. As for Tang Yin, Mu Ling stared coldly into space. I've got a way to let her progress in the shortest time. It's a pity that she has made the wrong choice and she even lost the Mu family's protection. That girl won't live for long. That's her own decision and she needs to pay for that. Feng Ruqing was on her way back to the Princess Manor after she left Paramount. She saw a person who could not possibly be in the Princess Manor when she was home. She had never even thought of it. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing's eyes were filled with shock. After a short while, she calmed herself down. She asked, Tang Yi, did you lose your way? Tang Zi is currently in the palace. Xiao Yin lives in General Manor now. Why did Tang Yi come to the Princess Manor? Tang Yi had a bitter smile when he faced Feng Ruqing. In the end, this girl still showed mercy to the Tang family. Both Tang Yu and Tang Luo deserved to die. But Feng Ruqing gave him the chance to rebuild the Tang family. She did not even kill Tang Si and Tang Wu. Their lives were spared and they were simply banished to the savage world. Princess, I came here because I wanted to meet with you. Sponsored content. Tang Yi seemed helpless. Moreover, don't mention to Xiao Yin that I've been here. You came for me. Feng Ruqing frowned slightly. She did not have a bad impression of Tang Yi. Tang Yi stood by both her and Xiao Yin's side when Feng Ruqing went to the Tang family for her father. She was grateful toward Tang Yi. She just did not understand the reason why Tang Yi had come to meet her without Xiao Yin's knowledge. Sponsored content. You can speak frankly with me, Feng Ruqing told him as she relaxed a little. Tang Yi fixed his gaze on Feng Ruqing. What about your relationship with Xiao Yin? Feng Ruqing's guard was suddenly up. I like men. Tang Yi grew noticeably uncomfortable. I don't mean that. I just want to ask whether you'll leave Xiao Yin behind if you face any danger. Will you choose to leave her behind just like those people from the Tang family before? Feng Ruqing raised her eyes and glanced at Tang Yi. Xiao Yin has made her choice and it's very clear where I stand. Don't mention anything about future events. Even if she's really in danger, I'll protect her definitely. Even if the rest of the world stands against you. I came today because of the things related to Xiao Yin. Xiao Yin herself doesn't have a clue about these things. But I need to tell you. You have the right to know. I don't want you to be burdened by these things. If not, Xiao Yin will surely hate me for the rest of her life. Having the world against me. Feng Ruqing laughed out loud. Now, the three powerful forces of the mainland and the reclusive world were her enemies. It's no different from the world being against her. Firstly, I'm not scared of anything. If I were a coward, I would not create trouble wherever I go. Secondly, Feng Ruqing walked toward Tang Yi slowly. The Tang family is quite special to Xiao Yin. She has left the Tang family and everyone else behind for my sake. How could I ever leave her behind? She chose me over her family and relatives. How could I let her think that she's made a bad choice? I'll never leave her behind even if I'm going against the rest of the world or even heaven up above. Chapter 698. Tang Yi looked deeply into Feng Ruqing's eyes. Then, he smiled. Sponsored content. Tang Yin did have a much better taste than them in choosing her friend. You can now tell me about the things you have mentioned just now, she said, calmly. Feng Ruqing stopped walking and came to stand beside Tang Yi. She seemed serious and solemn. Tang Yi smiled bitterly. Xiao Yin is not a child of our Tang family. She was adopted by our second master back then. But Tang Luo himself did not even know about this. I'm the only one who's aware of this. Feng Ruqing was shocked. Tang Yin is not a child of the Tang family. Why did Tang Luo know nothing about that? Sponsored content. Tang Yi might have guessed the doubt in Feng Ruqing's mind. He smiled softly. The second master of our Tang family had left home for a few years. He brought Tang Yin back when he returned to us. So, no one in the family knows of Tang Yin's real identity. But the second master told me everything before he died. Feng Ruqing pursed her lips and waited for Tang Yi to continue his story. She did not disrupt him. Tang Yi's capability is very powerful. Her strength would be feared by the whole world. Feng Ruqing narrowed her eyes. You mean? Tang Yi laughed bitterly. You could see for yourself that Tang Yin's physical strength is still very strong even if her current strength is weak. This is still under her control. So, her stepfather did not allow her to cultivate. He had even sealed her strength. Although that seal will not prohibit her from cultivating, it'll slow her speed in cultivation. Feng Ruqing knew from the day she met Tang Yin that Tang Yin had a strong physique just like a bull. But, her strength was weak. Sponsored content. Moreover, that girl was not ordinary given that she could kill a pig easily just by accidentally sitting on it. And Feng Ruqing's heart was heavy now. She continued to ask Tang Yi. Princess, I don't know Tang Yi's true identity. But the second master told me that even if one seals her strength, that seal will naturally be broken one day. By then, no one would be able to stop her from growing anymore. Moreover, there will be many people who will come after her to kill her as long as she starts to grow. Tang Yi seemed helpless. There was a bitter smile on his face. Sponsored content. That was the reason why Tang Yi agreed to let her marry Nan Xian in the first place. I just want to seek protection for her. Why? Feng Ruqing seemed calm, but there was deep worry in her eyes. What's wrong with her growth? They need to kill her just because she's powerful? Tang Yi shook his head. Enrich is different from the others. The second master had saved her from another person back then. At that time, that person was trying to kill Enrich, trying to kill a helpless and innocent baby. What for? Feng Ruqing raised her eyes. She seemed calm and there was a captivating smile on her face. She was dazzling. Xiao Yin is not so different from us. Why can't she grow and cultivate? Why did they want to suppress her talent? It's unfair to her. Tang Yi almost choked on his own sobs. Princess, I need to tell you something beforehand. Enrich. If she's really cultivating and growing stronger, she'll have the ability to destroy the whole world. It's her destiny the minute she was born. That's why a lot of people fear her very existence. The second master had no choice but to do what he did. Chapter 699, It's because Enrich is a Beastman 1. Sponsored content. A Beastman. Feng Ruqing froze right there and then. A beastman was the product of a human and a spirit beast. But spirit beasts and humans were not of the same species. They rarely consummated. However, if they did have a child, the child would surely have all the talent and strength of both species. A beastman could be in the world as a human and no one would know the truth. Similarly, they have the power and long lifespan of the spirit beasts. Furthermore, they would have even inherited the advantages of both the human and spirit beast. The strength of beastmen was potentially vastly powerful. It was the same case with a mixed blood person. They were naturally much beautiful than ordinary people. It was the same with beastmen. They were stronger than ordinary people. Sponsored content. She's not only a beastman but one of her parents is even a savage spirit beast. Savage spirit beasts were one type of spirit beasts. But the ordinary spirit beasts would never take the initiative to attack humans. However, the savage spirit beasts were different. They were not only strong, but their natural instincts were savage and ferocious. They treated humans as food, especially those humans or spirit beasts who intrude their territories. They would all become the beastman's food. Hence, the mainland separated the savage spirit beasts from the ordinary spirit beasts in the past. But Tang Yin's not related to the savage spirit beasts. What about that? That's right. What about that? Read more chapter on our VIP novel. Sponsored content. I don't care about Tang Yin's true identity. I just know that I'll never betray her. I understand what you have said. Don't worry. I'll never leave her behind. Tang Yi breathed a sigh of relief and could finally relax after looking at the girl's determined facial expression. He had gathered up all his courage just to come and tell Feng Ruqing the truth. He did not want Tang Yin to be left behind at such a dangerous time. He also did not want to leave Feng Ruqing unaware of the truth when they did face danger in the future. That was the reason why Feng Ruqing had the right to know about the truth. The young girl's choice did not disappoint him. Princess, Enrich is not strong now. The ordinary people will treat her just like any other human. But she will become very powerful when she breaks the seal one day. She'll have a lot of enemies then, Tang Yi paused before continued he talking. Furthermore, I've got no clue as to why Mu Ling from the Mu family would know about this. The people from the Tang family knew that Tang Yin was special because Tang Yi had mentioned it one time or another. They did not know the details. Sponsored content he had hidden Tang Yin in the Tang family these past few years. She was even prohibited from leaving the Tang family because he was afraid that her true identity would be discovered by someone else. He never thought that Tang Yin would leave the Tang family without his permission and had even met Feng Ruqing. Mu Ling. Nan Xian's father. He's not supposed to have existed then. Did he agree to let Nan Xian have an arranged marriage with the Tang family because he knows about Tang Yin's true identity? That's right. Tang Yi seemed serious now. The beast men are highly talented. Mu Ling is an ambitious man. Surely he wants Tang Yin close to him. I'm just worried that he'll most probably spread the news about Tang Yin's true identity given that Tang Yin will not become one of them now. Feng Ruqing's heart grew heavier slowly. She gazed upon the bright blue sky. She was calm. I won't allow anyone to hurt Xiao Yin. The Mu family. They've done Nan Xian and his mother too much harm. I don't hope for another strike from him. If not, Mu Ling will never be able to compensate for what he has done. Tang Yi wanted to say something but eventually, he did not manage to voice it out. After a short while, he said, Princess, I'll leave Ina with you. If you face any troubles in the future, I'll definitely come to help you even if I'm 1,000 miles away. Now, at least I still have my life even if I have nothing else. Chapter 700 Feng Ruqing turned to Tang Yi. Would you like to go and visit Xiao Yin later? Sponsored content. Tang Yi laughed bitterly. There's no need for that. She's living happily now. I don't have to go and disrupt her life. Feng Ruqing was quiet for a while. What about Tang Zi? Tang Yi was saddened when he heard that name. He lowered his eyes and guilt was written all over his face. He did not manage to protect Tang Zi that fateful year. She had suffered a lot because of that. There's no need for that too. Tang Yi sighed softly. Tang Zi will be quite happy with you. Why should I go and remind her of her pathetic past by appearing in front of her? Feng Ruqing intended to persuade him at first. But she decided against it after looking at Tang Yi's grieving face. Sponsored content. In the end, she simply said, Tang Zi has never blamed you. Tang Yi was the only one who had protected Tang Zi in that cruel Tang family. But Tang Yi did not notice Tang Luo's wickedness and he had never thought that Tang Luo would carry out his evil plans secretly. So, Tang Zi had never blamed Tang Yi because of that. Tang Yi put his hands behind his back. He turned and faced the soft breeze. His hair was white but there was a soft smile on his aging face. Princess, the time is late now. I should be leaving. Don't mention to Ina that I've been here. Ina will surely leave and hide in a secluded place if ever she knows of the truth. That is her true nature. Sponsored content. Then, there will be no one to help her if she attracts an endless stream of strong enemies. Tang Yi waved his sleeves and walked out of the manor when he finished talking. Soon, he was out of Feng Ruqing's sight. Fu Qin. Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes and called for Fu Qin when Tang Yi left. A soft breeze blew. Fu Qin's small body appeared in front of her. Are you aware of the fact that she's a beast man? She remembered several instances where Fu Qin met Tang Yin and he looked like there was something on his mind. Sponsored content. It seems that Fu Qin might know the truth. Fu Qin lowered his eyes. Yes. Then, why didn't you tell me before? Fu Qin was hesitant. I just thought that there's nothing wrong with beast men. I never realized that those people intended to kill her. Feng Ruching heaved a sigh helplessly. She hugged Fu Qin. She patted his small head softly. Luckily Tang Yi came and told me everything today. If not, I'd been caught unprepared in the future. Then. Mother, will you still stay by Tang Yin's side? Read more chapter on our VIP novel. Yes. Feng Ruching smiled slightly. Do you think that I'm a coward? Fu Qin shook his head. If Mother is a coward, she wouldn't have offended so many forces. Even though Mother is innocent. It's fine. I just need to cultivate harder from now on. Then, I'll be able to protect her. Feng Ruching rubbed his head. What's wrong with being a beast man? I just want to see who's daring enough to harm her as long as I'm strong enough to be able to stand above everyone else in this world. At that moment, arrogance and pompousness were written all over the young girl's face. There was a bright smile on Fu Chen's soft and exquisite face. That's right. What's wrong with being a beast man? Even though the world rejects her, the world will still treat her like a god if she is strong enough to stand above everyone else. Chapter 701, Fu Qin. Feng Ruching lowered her eyes. I took some spirit herbs from Paramount just now. Can the two of you still make a breakthrough after you have eaten them? Sponsored content. Fu Qin was excited. Mother, are those spirit herbs for us? Yes. Feng Ruching smiled softly. She had decided since she knew that Nan Xian's father came from the Mu family from Tianshan Manor. But she had yet to make a breakthrough to Dark Warrior tier. She was still unable to grow grade 5 spirit herbs. Moreover, Guiyi had appeared in front of her. Guiyi's strength was not powerful. She was similar to the Feng Ruching before. She was quite obese and it was difficult for her to cultivate with ease. Sponsored content. But the girl who hung around Guiyi was a spirit warrior. That girl did not dare to disobey Guiyi although she was dissatisfied with her. The girl was only brave enough to secretly harm her. Thus, Feng Ruching could guess that Guiyi came from the reclusive world. She might possess some grade 5 spirit herbs given that she came from the reclusive world. Hence, she did not lose the opportunity to exchange some high-grade spirit herbs with her using spirit herbs dishes. She just never thought that Guiyi came from a more powerful family. Guiyi was even able to obtain some grade 6 spirit herbs. Then, Feng Ruching was able to feed Fu Qin and Qin Han. Mother, it's enough. But, Fu Chen's eyes darkened. We'll be sleeping soundly after we're full. Mother, are you fine with being alone? Feng Ruching pinched Fu Chen's small face. It's fine as long as your strength is improved. I'll wait until you wake up. After that, we might be going to Tianshan Manor. Sponsored content. Fu Qin gazed at the beautiful face in front of him. Mother, have you decided to go to Tianshan Manor? I should know about this earlier. Mother has made her decision since she left Paramount. Feng Ruching did not answer his question. She turned to look, calmly, in the distance ahead of her. That was where Qin Chen lived when he was still staying at the Princess Manor. She touched her chest softly. There was a soft smile on her face. He might be my younger brother. Do you know what that means? Sponsored content. It means. If that's the case, the Qin family is lying to you. Why did they lie? Why did they steal your younger brother? She needed to find out the truth about one thing. Is Qin Chen my younger brother? Fu Qin, he used to be the one who protects me all the time. Now, I'll protect him as his elder sister. He was the one who protected her when they were still at Huaxia. Since we meet again in this life, I'll never let anyone harm him again. Mother, Fu Qin held Feng Ruching's hand. I'll be by your side no matter what decision you make. Fine. Feng Ruching smiled. By the way, what about that big gray doggy? Fu Chen was in doubt. Mother, are you talking about Big Black? It has almost recovered. It just needs more time to recover on its own. I came back before because of that. Oh, then I'm relieved. Fu Chen, just go back and finish up the spirit herbs in the medium. You don't have to come out here again. You must improve your strength faster. Her eyes darkened. The enemies whom she would face in the future would be stronger. So, not only her but the people around her needed to improve their strength faster. Chapter 702. It's not only for Tang Yin's sake but also for Nan Xian and Sui's. Sponsored content at General Manor. Master Nalan was playing chess with Qin Feiyang. They had not been able to fully enjoy it yet when a servant rushed toward them. Old General, Her Highness is here. Qing'er is here. Nalan Hu stood up, excitedly. He did not manage to even move yet when he saw two figures rushing toward the entrance of the manor quickly. Shao Qing. Tang Yin smiled brightly. She threw herself into Feng Ruching's embrace. Sponsored content. Feng Ruching did not push her away like how she used to do. On the other hand, she patted Tang Yin's back gently. Shao Qing, why are you here? Tang Yin saw the change in Feng Ruching. She was happy and she could not suppress her excitement. I came to visit my grandfather. Feng Ruching glanced at Tang Yin, who was as short as a petite carrot. Then, she glanced at Guiyi. Guiyi's face was still plump. But, it was much better than before. She was only plump now. She seems rather cute like this. You can return to your place now after a month, Feng Ruching said as she smiled. Sponsored content. Guiyi was shocked. She was unwilling to return home at that moment. She wanted to stay in Luyun Kingdom forever. Moreover, no one laughed or sneered at her when she was obese. Everyone was so nice and friendly here. Tianshan Manor would never have treated her like that. Grandfather. Feng Ruching did not know about Guiyi's thoughts surely. She saw that Nalan Hu was moving toward her. Her eyes brightened and she walked toward her grandfather. Qing'er, how come you're free to visit me today? Nalan Hu laughed out loud. That laughter was pleasant. By the way, your father and mother have been away for quite some time now. Have they found my grandson whom we have lost for so long? Feng Ruching suddenly stopped walking. She gazed at Master Nalan's smiling face. She smiled slightly. I'll be soon, that's right. The day when he will reunite with us is approaching. Sponsored content. Grandfather, I have brewed some spirit wine in the Princess Manor. If you lack spirit wine in the future, you can go to my manor directly. Nalan Hu glanced at Feng Ruching suspiciously. Qing'er, why do I feel like you're acting weird recently? I'm fine. Just that I need to go somewhere soon. Don't tell anybody of this, especially my uncle. Grandfather told me before that my uncle could not keep any secret. If he knows of something, it means that the rest of the world would know. Nalan Hu was nervous. He grabbed onto Feng Ruching's hand anxiously. Do you know where your younger brother is? I'm not sure. I just need to go and validate it. So, I don't want many people to know about that. If he's not my younger brother, then my father and mother will be so disappointed if they hear about it. Fine. Nalan Hu was excited. I don't care whether it's real or fake news as long as there's hope for us. Don't worry. I'll never tell a soul, especially Nalan Zhangqian. By the way, where's Aunt and Dyer? Feng Ruching raised her eyebrows and asked. They went to the Qin family. Nalan Hu did not manage to finish his sentence when suddenly a figure came rushing toward them from outside the manor. He rushed toward Qin Feiyang. He almost burst into tears from anxiety. Master, master, something is wrong. Young lady has fainted. Chapter 703, What? Sponsored content. Qin Feiyang's facial expression changed then. He grabbed the servant's clothes and scolded angrily, What's wrong with Pinyao? Young lady, fainted. The young manor master is going to kill somebody. Master, hurry up and return to the manor. The servant was almost crying from anxiety. Qin Feiyang was no better than that. Qin Feitong had always treated Wei Pinyao like his daughter since the day she was married to his son. So, his aging face paled the minute he received that news. He did not bother about Nalan Hu and quickly rushed out of General Manor. Qinger, go and take a look at that girl from the Wei family for me. Nalan Hu was rather worried. Okay. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing turned calmly and rushed in the direction where Qin Feiyang was headed just now. At Qin Manor. Some crying voices were heard. Feng Ruqing saw a woman kneeling in front of Qin Sun when she reached there. Her eyes were filled with deep anger and hatred. She seemed wicked and was staring at the backyard. Qin Sun was holding a sword in his hand. His handsome face was filled with deep anger and frustration. If Qin Yi had not stopped him, the sword in Qin Sun's hand would have long been stabbed into the person in front of him. Sponsored content. Sister, don't stop me. I'll kill this woman today to avenge Pinyao. Sooner. Qin Yi frowned slightly. She looked down, coldly, at the woman who kneeled before them. Her stare was cold and distant. Wei Mingjie, how dare you come back here? Quickly tell me now. Who has given you the poison in your hand? Wei Mingjie had a sardonic smile on her face. She got up from the ground and seemed arrogant. We're the little ladies of the Wei family. Why is Wei Pinyao able to enjoy all the wealth and happiness while I'm expelled from the Wei family? Wei Pinyao did not even let me go when I left the Wei family. She has even ordered someone to humiliate me and beat me up. Luckily, I've got my chance at last. I was denied the best. Therefore, I won't let her enjoy her life either. Wei Mingjie. Qin Yi's facial expression worsened. Wei Pinyao was not the one who did that to you. Both of my fathers did that. Why are you taking your revenge on her? If I had known better, I'd never have shown mercy to her for old Master Wei's sake. I should have killed her. I don't care. Wei Mingjie laughed rather arrogantly. There's a way to save her if you want to. Ask Qin Sun to marry me, then I'll give you the antidote. Someone else gave me the poison. Sponsored content. There's no antidote. Life is so miserable for me. Why is Wei Pinyao allowed to live happily? I want to stand between Qin Sun and her. I'll never let her have her way this lifetime. Impossible. An angry voice came from behind them before Qin Sun and Qin Yi could say anything. Wei Mingjie turned and saw Qin Feiyang's angry face. He walked toward them slowly. I only want a daughter-in-law, and that's Pinyao. You're such an evil villain. You don't deserve to be our daughter-in-law. Wei Mingjie's facial expression changed. She said angrily, Why? Am I any less than Wei Pinyao? For what? Why is everyone treating me like that? Wei Pinyao is just an infertile woman. How she can have everything? Anyway, I'll bear a son for Qin Sun when I'm married to him. Wei Pinyao will be dead by then. Then, you'll surely become the young lady of the Qin family. Princess, Qin Feiyang wanted to say something. He turned and looked at Feng Ruqing. Please help us. Chapter 704, Fine. Feng Ruqing smiled slightly and nodded. She scanned Wei Mingjie coldly. This kind of person should never be allowed to live. Sponsored content. That was the end of Wei Mingjie. Qin Yi was delighted when she saw Feng Ruqing. She always felt that there was nothing that Feng Ruqing could not do. If she was here, it meant that Pineo would be fine. Qinger. Aunt, you don't have to worry. Aunt Yao is going to be okay. Feng Ruqing smiled and she did not say much. She also did not ask how Wei Mingjie had hurt Wei Pinyao. She walked directly toward the backyard of the manor. In the room, Wei Pinyao was pale. She lay on the bed listlessly. Sponsored content. There were two maids tending to Wei Pinyao at the moment. They retreated when they saw Feng Ruqing. She could not guess the type of poison just by looking at Wei Pinyao's appearance. But she could smell the lingering scent of the poison when she walked into the room. Sandalleaf. That's right. It's a grade 5 spirit herb. But how did Wei Mingjie obtain a grade 5 spirit herb? Moreover, this poison. It's a poison that will cause infertility. If a person swallows a sandalleaf by accident, that person would be unable to conceive children anymore. If that person were pregnant, the child would be dead and she would no longer be able to conceive children anymore in the future. But Feng Ruqing did not understand the reason behind committing such a crime. Spirit herbs are used on cultivators. Sponsored content. Wei Pinyao is just an ordinary person who has never cultivated. If they really want her infertile, they could just make use of ordinary herbs. They don't have to use spirit herbs. Ordinary herbs could not do much harm to the cultivators. The spiritual qi in their bodies would help to restrain the herbs from doing harm to them. Only spirit herbs could harm the cultivators. I'll never let anyone hurt her again no matter what. I've helped heal her body with much difficulty and effort. Wei Pinyao was poisoned when her mother was impregnated with her. She had gotten fetus poisoning. That was the reason why her body was physically weak and infertile. After that, Feng Ruqing helped to detoxify the poison in her body, and that was when Wei Pinyao's body started to heal. But her infertility was still an unresolved issue. When Feng Ruqing had made a breakthrough to Spirit Warrior tier, she had grown more spirit herbs for Wei Pinyao. So, she always asked the ape to deliver to her some spirit herbs from time to time. She had used a lot of spirit herbs to heal Wei Pinyao. Sponsored content. Those spirit herbs cannot go to waste. Feng Ruqing put her hand on Wei Pinyao's pulse. Her face darkened. It's a pulse of a pregnant woman. Wei Pinyao is pregnant. Feng Ruqing took a deep breath. She took out a piece of ginseng shaped like a doll from the medium. Then, she turned to walk out of the room. The two maids were still waiting outside of the room. Go and immerse this ginseng in the water. Then, help her up to drink the water. I hope that we can help protect her baby this way. Yes, princess, the maids replied, respectfully. In the manner. Qin Yi glanced at Wei Mingjie coldly. Her eyes were filled with deep hatred and anger. She was ready to kill Wei Mingjie anytime now. But, at that moment, she turned and saw Feng Ruqing walking toward them from the backyard. She was delighted and she quickly approached Feng Ruqing. Qinger, how is it? Feng Ruqing was calm. She would be fine for the time being. This poison. It's only capable of making a woman infertile. It won't endanger their lives. Wei Pinyao fainted because she could not endure the effects of the poison given that she is pregnant. Chapter 705. There's one thing that I need to inform you guys about. Feng Ruqing paused before she continued. Aunt Yao, she's pregnant. Sponsored content. Pregnant, a word that was just like a hammer to everyone's heart. It should be a joyful thing to hear, however, because of Wei Pinyao's condition, nobody was joyful as their hearts were cloaked in a haze. Wei Pinyao is pregnant. Wei Mingjie screamed, she's only a hen that doesn't lay eggs. How can she be pregnant? That's impossible. She could not believe that Wei Pinyao was really pregnant. Wei Mingjie. An angry voice suddenly rang. It was so frightening that it made Wei Mingjie tremble. She turned her head stiffly and saw the Wei family's master, Wei Fong, walking furiously toward her. Then, he gave her a violent slap to her face. Sponsored content, what have you done to Pinyao? Wei Fong trembled in anger as his face was already distorted. He regretted it. Back then, he should not have kicked Wei Mingjie out. Such a wicked hard villain should have been beaten to death. Wei Pinyao, the corners of Wei Mengjie's lips lifted into a scornful smile, her eyes seemed wicked as she giggled in a low voice. It's Wei Pinyao again. Why does every one of you only care about her? Even her father was the same. She was his biological daughter as well, why did he treat her in such a cruel way? Sponsored content, do you still insist to be stubborn and refuse to admit your mistake now? The anger in Wei Fang's eyes previously had turned into disappointment. He had never made a single mistake throughout his life. The only mistake he had made was being too obedient and filial to his mother, therefore, he had taken a concubine whom he did not like and had also given birth to a daughter who had ruined his reputation in his previous life. It's my fault, it's all my fault. Wei Fong kneeled down in agony as he was flooded with tears. I have done wrong to Pinyao's mother and Pinyao, it's all my fault. Qin Fiang's lips twitched. He did not feel good watching his old companion in such agony either. However, he did not step forward. He should bear some of the consequences as by only doing so, he could only come to his senses in the future. What have you done wrong to her? Wei Mengjie's face was hideously twisted. You have wronged me and my MO, read more chapter on our VIP novel. Calm bang. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing gave a swift kick to Wei Mingjie and sent her flying. Her body hit the wall as fresh blood continuously oozed from her mouth. Her pale face seemed even more ugly now. Say it, who gave you the great 5-spirit herb, Sandalleaf? Feng Ruqing walked toward Wei Mingjie expressionlessly and stepped on her chest before stomping on her with a sudden burst of strength while she asked. Because of the stomp, Wei Mingjie spat out a mouthful of blood right away as her complexion turned gray. Her face looked dull. Great 5-spirit herbs. Those words were enough to shock everyone, even Wei Fong lifted his head and glared at Wei Mingjie. How could Wei Mingjie possess spirit herbs in her hand? Why would she use the spirit herbs against Pinyao when she was only an ordinary person? I don't know. Wei Mingjie rolled her eyes and denied by gritting her teeth. That person had told her before, if she ever spoke of him, then, he would let her suffer a life worse than death. You refuse to say it. Feng Ruqing sneered. I have hundreds of poisons in my hand that will torture you and make you crave for death. It's all right if you don't want to say it. I shall let you taste a variety of agonies. She violently pressed and locked Wei Mengjie's jaw with her fingers, then she took out a black fruit and stuffed into her mouth, forcing her to swallow it. Wei Mingjie jolted as if her bones had shattered. It was so painful that it made her break out in cold sweat. Chapter 706, That kind of pain was really terrible to bear. Sponsored content. She was in so much pain that she wanted to beg for mercy. However, when the words reached her throat, it was stuck no matter how hard she tried. All she could do was glare at Feng Ruqing with her terrified eyes. That pain had lasted for a whole hour. It only wore off after an hour. Wei Mengjie's body went limp and collapsed. Her whole body was soaked in sweat as her lips were pale. I've told you that. I don't know who he is, I didn't know that was a spirit herb too, really, all I got from him was only a bottle of powder. He asked me to think of a way to approach you, and everything would be done by just letting you inhale the powder. However, I couldn't enter the princess manor, and also, I want to exact revenge on Wei Pinyao anyway. Therefore, she had made the selfish decision and used that poison on Wei Pinyao in the end. That person had also mentioned that if she succeeded in tricking Feng Ruqing, in order to prevent her from getting killed by Feng Ruqing, he would let her enter an area and be with forces he was in connection with. It was obvious that the person did not want Feng Ruqing to find out who he was. Therefore, if she had really obeyed him and plotted to hurt Feng Ruqing, she would be silenced by death as soon as she made it. Sponsored content. Therefore, she was not that foolish to really get herself in trouble with Feng Ruqing. Besides, he had told her that the powder was colorless and odorless, which was hard to notice when viewed with the naked eyes. Also, Feng Ruqing would not find out right away, as nothing would happen the moment someone breathed in the powder. But in the end, Wei Pinyao blacked out as soon as she used it on her, which was a dead giveaway before she could run away. Feng Ruqing's face grew even colder. The person who had gotten poisoned Wei Mingjie came to look for her. Then, do you know what's the purpose of this poison? Feng Ruqing sneered as her lips twitched. Sponsored content. Wei Mingjie shook her head. She really did not know. She would not have used it to hurt Wei Pinyao if she had known it. In her eyes, Wei Pinyao was already infertile long ago. Why would she take the trouble to do that? To make someone infertile forever. The words were just like a bolt of lightning, jolting the crowd's hearts. Qin Yi was startled. Qing'er. Who was the person exactly to be in such a deep grudge toward Qing'er to want to make her infertile? Sponsored content. Infertile. Wei Mingjie looked as pale as a dead person. She was lying on the floor, paralyzed with terror, and looking hopeless. Why would it be infertility? She would never apply it on Wei Pinyao if she had known it earlier that it was a sterilizing potion. Suddenly, Wei Mingjie laughed hysterically as she seemed to think of something. Oh, by the way, didn't you mention just now that Wei Pinyao is pregnant? Has she miscarried yet? Ha ha ha. Wonderful. It did not matter how Wei Pinyao got pregnant this time, as from now on, she could never have a baby anymore. Everything was worth it this time. Qin Sun panicked. He gritted his teeth hatefully and turned to glare at Wei Mingjie. You better pray that Pinyao will be fine, or else I will make you beg for death. After Qin Sun finished speaking, he did not stay and swiftly headed over to the backyard. Feng Ruqing did not care about Qin Sun and looked down at Wei Mingjie coldly. Are you sure that you don't know who's the person who asked you to poison me? Why would he come to look for you? Wei Mingjie sneered. He feels pity for me as I was kicked out from the Wei family, and said that he wanted to help me. But I really don't know who he is. Perhaps he's afraid that if his plan didn't work out, I'd expose him. Oh. Feng Ruqing calmly took another black fruit out again. This fruit was the size of a bean. However, it was big enough to frighten Wei Mingjie. I don't know, I really don't know. I only know that he's a man, and I don't know anything more about him. Chapter 707. Feng Ruqing forcibly used her fingers to lock Wei Mingjie's jaw. Sponsored content. The intense pain caused Wei Mingjie to sob. She blankly stared at Feng Ruqing putting the fruit around her lips as her eyes were wild with terror. No. I'll say it, I'll say it. Feng Ruqing finally stopped, but the fruit was still in her hand. Her eyes were cold as she looked down at the girl who was lying on the ground, paralyzed. I really don't know much, really. Wei Mingjie's palms were already covered in cold sweat. She was terrified that Feng Ruqing would not believe in her. I just happened to hear that the man had mentioned something about young Master Nan Xian. Oh, yes, it must be that young Master Nan Xian. Feng Rooking's smile looked creepy as she slowly put her hand away. Wei Mingjie took a deep breath when she saw that, and then, her tense heart started to relax as well. Master Qin. The young girl slowly turned around. I think I already know who's behind this. This girl is at your disposal. Sponsored content: The Mu family. How wonderful. They had sent someone to poison her, hoping that she would be infertile so that they could pin the blame on Nan Xian. What a pity for them. After searching and asking help from someone only to end up finding a fool. Qing'er. Qing'er looked worried. It's really State. It's not him. I can't tell the details now, but I know already. What should I do now? In this world, even if she did not believe in anyone, she would still trust the State Preceptor. Sponsored content: He would never hurt her. Gu Yi heard Wei Mengjie's last sentence as soon as she reached the place with Tang Yin. Her body froze as she seemed lost in shock, which could be seen from her bright eyes. Nan Xian. Did she just mention? Young Master Nan Xian. Nan Xian, this vixen has such a day too. Tang Yin was so excited that her little tail was almost raised to the sky. It seemed that she was not the one who was always in bad luck, since Nan Xian, that vixen, had some bad days too. Suddenly, just as he was doing fine, a huge pot fell from the sky and trapped him inside. Sponsored content: Xiao Yin, the vixen that you have mentioned before, was Nan Xian. She turned her head stiffly and asked. Tang Yin nodded vigorously. Yes, he's the vixen. Gu Yi's lips twitched as her face started to pale. Nan Xian, that scumbag. What was he capable of other than being a good-looking person? Was not it enough for him since he already had so many women? Why did he still want to pester Xiao Qing? Xiao Qing was such a gentle and kind girl, she should not have met with such a scumbag. Gu Yi almost cried as she wiped away the tears from the corners of her eyes. No, we must stop Nan Xian from being together with Xiao Qing. Exactly. Tang Yin kept nodding. After we've stopped Nan Xian, nobody can take Xiao Qing from us anymore. Tang Yin felt great inside as soon as she thought of that. Even her eyebrows were already lifted as she broke into a smile. They were so happy to the extent that they did not even realize Feng Ruqing had left. Let's go back and figure out what to do. Tang Yin turned around with a smile as she walked out of the Qin family's door. Then, she seemed to think of something as she shot a hesitant glance at Gu Yi. Oh, speaking of which, why do I feel that you don't like Nan Xian, that vixen as well? Gu Yi wiped away her tears again. It's such a pity that I was once Nan Xian's fiancé. Tang Yin remained silent for a while as she threw a sympathetic look at Gu Yi. What a coincidence. Coincidence? Gu Yi seemed confused. Chapter 708. Not long ago, I was Nan Xian's fiancé too. Sponsored content: There was dead silence. Gu Yi was dumbfounded. Her eyes were still filled with tears as she stared at Tang Yin's cute and delicate little face in surprise. What a coincidence. Why did you break the engagement? Gu Yi asked after a moment. Sponsored content: Oh, it's because I have a new sweetheart now. I've fallen for Xiao Qing. A new sweetheart. Tang Yin said those words in such a natural and granted way, and then she asked, What about you? Why did you break the engagement with him? Nan Xian is a scumbag. Gu Yi gritted her teeth. Why does he still want to propose marriage in my family when he already has so many women? Tang Yin's big eyes flashed in surprise as she bit her lip. In terms of a romantic relationship, even though she and Nan Xian were rivals, she would always be very respectful of such a great opponent. Therefore, she poked Gu Yi and said, I don't like Nan Xian because Xiao Qing likes him. However, Nan Xian has been captivated by our manor Xiao Qing and he's faithful to her. It's impossible for him to have so many women. If he ever dares to make our Xiao Qing sad, he'll use a huge mountain to smash him to death. Sponsored content. You said that Nan Xian is faithful to Xiao Qing. Gu Yi's face suddenly darkened. Were the people from the Mu family lying to me? Gu Yi was not as stupid as Tang Yin. After all, she was manor lady of Tianxin. Even though she had been well protected since her childhood, she still could quickly and easily understand the things she needed to know. She came to her senses as soon as she heard Tang Yin's words. She was so angry that her chest almost exploded. How dare they lie to me? Saying that Nan Xian had asked the Mu family to ask for my hand in marriage, which I had always been taking so seriously. Last time, I came to Luyun Kingdom just because I wanted to make sure that it's real. Of course, because of Feng Ruqing, she had completely forgotten that matter later on. And now, even though she had taken the initiative to break the engagement, that still did not imply that she would allow anyone to deceive her. Sponsored content. What a coincidence that you were deceived too. Tang Yin's eyes brightened. Those bastards of the Mu family, they lied to me by saying that Nan Xian is a gentle person. Which part of him is gentle? Whenever he bumps into me in the princess manor, he would ask someone to throw me out of the manor. Gu Yi got even angrier. Nan Xian is not gentle. The Mu family lied to me again. That's how they promote him to others, a powerful, talented, gentle, and good-looking man. How could the girls in Tianxin Manor not be fascinated by that? However, these were actually all lies. I still feel that Xiao Qing is the gentle one. Whenever she hits him, she won't use too much of her strength, and also, she would stay away from the boulders. Tang Yin's eyes seemed to light up as her face brightened up with a smile. Gu Yi nodded in agreement. Indeed, in comparison, Xiao Qing was too gentle. Xiao Yin, tell me, if Xiao Qing ever finds out that I'm once Nan Xian's fiancé arranged by the Mu family, will she ignore me? Tang Yin's eyes rolled several times. No worries, if someone ever reveals your identity, just deny it till the end, and pretend like you know nothing. Xiao Qing won't blame you. Gu Yi finally sighed in relief. Tang Yin suddenly thought of Gu Yi's words and asked hesitantly, did you mention just now that everyone in Tianxin Manor wanted to marry Nan Xian? And also claimed that Nan Xian has a lot of women. Do you mean that we can make use of this and turn it into gossip and soon, Xiao Qing will leave that vixen and jump into our arms? Then, we can take the opportunity to win Xiao Qing's heart and climb to a higher position at the same time. The Wei family had only started to become more modern now after they had followed in Nalan Hu's steps. Sponsored content. However, the Wei family's root still originated from the countryside. Initially, Wei Fong had wanted to send the old lady to the second courtyard, where she could still enjoy a luxurious life with good food. But this time, he showed her no mercy anymore as he kicked her back to the countryside, and forced her to live the life she had been living before. To prevent her from bringing up another Wei Mingjie again, he had even ordered someone to guard her, and that had completely taken away her freedom for the rest of her life. Isn't it good to live in the moment and enjoy life? Why would someone want to put herself in trouble? People like Wei Mingjie should die no matter what. As for what had happened to her in the end, Feng Ruqing would not have any objection to that. However, Feng Ruqing smiled helplessly when she thought of the person who was the mastermind behind Wei Mingjie's doing. Perhaps the Mu family would never have expected Wei Mingjie to turn out to be such a fool either. Besides, even if Wei Mingjie managed to pull it off, Feng Ruqing would still not be in any trouble. A handsome man's face came into Feng Ruqing's mind as soon as she thought of the Mu family. The corners of her lips gently lifted. I misstate Preceptor. Of course, Feng Ruqing was someone who had always kept to her words. She walked out of the princess manor as soon as the thought came to mind. If you have not seen any of it, you may drop by the Princess Manor and take a look over there where you will be able to find every surprising scene there. You still want to lie to me at this point? Mu Ling sneered. How can a spirit beast be a chef? Do you think I'm that stupid? The black-robed man paled as his lips trembled. Every word that I've said is true. I've also found out that the housekeeper of the Princess Manor is a wolf while the guards are 2 bears. In fact, Mu Ling also knew well that this subordinate of his would never dare to deceive him in any way. However, he could never imagine that someone would actually hire spirit beasts to do chores for her. It's such a waste to hand those spirit beasts over to her. Luckily, her spirit beasts were not in high-tiered as nobody would bother to pay any attention to the low-tiered spirit beasts. After quite a while of contemplation, the man in black finally started to speak after some hesitation on whether he should mention that matter to Mu Ling. Young Manor Master. I've acted on my own as I wanted to pin the blame on young Master Nan Xian about how we had put Feng Ruqing in danger, so we could drive a wedge between them. I have done this because... Chapter 7:11. At this time, a glimmer of wickedness flashed in Mu Ling's eyes. Sponsored content. Bang! An aura was emitted out of Mu Ling's palm, striking straight at the man in black. The man in black did not dodge the attack and thus, spat out a mouthful of blood. Idiot! Do you truly think that everyone in the world is as foolish as you? If Nan Xian wants to hurt her, do you think he needs someone else to do it on his behalf? He could make her infertile without her knowing it. But, it's Lady Qingjian's suggestion. Hearing this, color drained from the black-robed man's face. As this was Lady Qingjian's suggestion, he did not put much thought into it and merely did as she had suggested. All he wanted to do was to completely ruin the relationship between Nan Xian and this lady. Sponsored content. Idiot! Don't you know that Nan Xian would find out that it is the Mu family who is behind all these? Do you want Nan Xian to hold grudges against me? Mu Ling clenched his jaw and punched the black-robed man squarely in the chest. As Nan Xian had always disliked Mu Ling had fully prepared himself before meeting him. If Nan Xian that knew all these are associated with Mu Ling, perhaps, Nan Xian would betray him for that lady. It was all because of this idiot. Young Manor Master, please spare my life. I am just doing what Lady Qingyan has suggested. Please don't kill me. The black-robed man flew into a great panic and kept kowtowing to Mu Ling. What did you just say? Qingyan has asked you to do so. Dumbstruck by the man's words, Mu Ling's palm froze, mid-air. Why did Qingyan do this? Yes. Young Manor Master, this subordinate only wants young Master Nan Xian to leave this lady. Please have mercy on me. Sponsored content. Mu Ling pursed his lips coldly. If Qingyan has truly done this, she must have done this for me as she doesn't want to see Nan Xian lose his senses for a lady. She did this as she wants Nan Xian to return to the Mu family, Mu Ling said helplessly after a long while. Although Qingyan had good intentions, she had done more harm than good. However, Mu Ling could not bear to reprimand her. Read more chapter on our VIP novel. I will spare your life because of Qingyan. However, never tell anyone about this when you return to the Mu family. I don't want Qingyan to feel bad. Everything that Qingyan had done, she did for Mu Ling. As Qingyan truly cared for Nan Xian, if she knew that she had worsened the whole situation and that it would be harder to get Nan Xian back to the Mu family, she would feel very upset. Sponsored content. Mu Ling owed Qingyan too much. He could not bear to see her feeling bad. Thank you, young Manor Master, for sparing my life. As if being granted a great amnesty, the black-robed man quickly thanked Mu Ling. Go back to the Mu family and tell the old master that I will be back together with Suyi and Nan Xian sometime later. Mu Ling knew that Suyi still cared for him. Once her anger had faded, she would come back to the Mu family. Naturally, Nan Xian would also come back with her. At your command, young manor master. The black-robed man got up and turned to leave. Mu Ling stared in the direction of Luyun Kingdom. His eyes were as gentle as water, the corners of his lips slightly lifted. Siyi, it's time for you to come back. Qing Yan had promised that when Siyi returned to the Mu family, she would move to another court so that Siyi would not throw a tantrum. Mu Ling had indulged Siyi's every whim, and even Qing Yan had agreed to move out to another court. It would do no good to both Mu Ling and Siyi if she continued to be the way she was. Siyi was a smart lady. Naturally, she knew what to do. Siyi. A shrill voice came from the sky, above the southern bamboo grove. Chapter 7:12. Siyi raised her head only to see a white figure plunging toward her. Sponsored content. The white phoenix opened its arms widely in excitement and buried Siyi in its embrace. Sob, sob. Siyi, I'm finally back. You truly have no idea how many struggles I have gone through. I have lost my way for half a year. Those humans are truly mean. Knowing that I am lost, they had shown me the wrong way. I have been to the northern wilderness, traveled all the way from there to the southern ocean. I have even reached the western desert. Fortunately, the white phoenix was finally back to Luyun Kingdom after half a year. The white phoenix scanned its surroundings and saw Nan Xian. Nan Xian, why are you here? The white phoenix snorted disdainfully. Sponsored content. You are no better than those vicious humans. You took my storeroom away and stole my tear in a bottle. Nan Xian disregarded the white phoenix and did not even spare a glance at it. His eyes fixed on the devastatingly stunning lady who was coming his way from not far away. The white phoenix turned its head to look in the direction that Nan Xian was looking. Seeing Feng Ruqing, its eyes lit up. Xiao Qingqing, good to see you again. I am White Phoenix. I am the best friend of your future mother-in-law. The white phoenix said reluctantly when it said the word friend. However, there was ample time ahead. It would definitely become Feng Ruqing's future father-in-law one day. Siyi, I told you that Xiao Qingqing is pretty and amazing. Their children will definitely look better. Siyi, you will become a grandmother soon. The white phoenix did not notice that Siyi's face had stiffened. What can I do now? How do I make phoenix soup? Sponsored content. Did I say something wrong? I don't think I did. Nan Xian and Xiao Qingqing are so in love with each other. Siyi will definitely have grandchildren soon. The white phoenix could finally sense the awkward atmosphere and rubbed its head. Its eyes were empty. Calm down. I must calm down. I can't lose my composure before Qing'er. Siyi's hand on her sides balled into fists. Qing'er. I don't mean to lie to you. I am just. Siyi's face stiffened. She turned her head around, her face was still calm as if nothing had happened. I know. You don't want me to know anything about the Mu family. Feng Ruqing broke into a bright smile. You're right, but, Siyi sighed. Sponsored content. How do you know that? Just as Siyi wanted to say something, she paused as her elegant face stiffened. I knew that Nan Xian is your son a long time ago. Otherwise, Feng Ruqing would never have let Siyi stay in the princess manor for half a year. When did you find out? Startled, Siyi asked. Half a year ago. More precisely, I knew it since the second day I met you. Feng Ruqing shrugged as she smiled. Siyi stroked the hair near her ear gently to hide her anxiety. Why did you never tell me that before? Siyi thought that she had hidden it very well. She had never thought that Feng Ruqing had found out about her relationship with Nan Xian a long time ago. Oh, you seemed happy when you were pretending. I didn't want to upset you. Hence, I pretended that didn't know about it. Her squinting eyes shone with delight. Her smile was as dazzling as a bright ray of sunlight. Have you settled everything? Nan Xian walked forward, his slender fingers stroking the hair on Feng Ruqing's forehead. Nan Xian knew that Feng Ruqing went into closed-door cultivation as she had something on. However, he did not ask further and only stared calmly at the lady before him. Chapter 713, I am here to see you as soon as I take care of that. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing walked toward Nan Xian and put her arms around him. She looked up at him, her eyes overflowing with joy. Cough. Cough. Both of you can take your time. White Phoenix, come with me. I have something to talk to you about. Siyi said calmly as she cleared her throat. The White Phoenix did not know what had actually happened. However, when it thought of Siyi wanting to talk to it and that there would only be two of them, its heart pounded excitedly. All right, Siyi. Siyi turned around calmly and walked toward the southern bamboo grove. The White Phoenix stumbled after Siyi. A gust of wind swept through, both of them quickly disappeared into the bamboo grove. Sponsored content. Feng Ruqing did not even spare a glance at the White Phoenix since the beginning. She could only see Nan Xian in her eyes. Someone set you up. Nan Xian stroked Feng Ruqing's head. His voice was still sweet as always, like a light gust of wind blowing by her ears. It was so comfortable. Someone from the Mu family. A glimpse of mysterious light flashed in Nan Xian's eyes. Simply no one knew what was in his mind. However, Feng Ruqing could clearly feel the air surrounding them growing colder. Someone from the Mu family wants to make me infertile and he said that you are behind this. Feng Ruqing's lips curved into a smile. I don't know if he is a fool or he truly thinks that I am a fool. Why would you get someone to do this instead? I trust that you will never hurt me. Sponsored content. Mu Ling is not a fool. He would not do this and push it to me after that. Nan Xian lowered his eyes. You are saying that? Feng Ruqing raised her head to squint at Nan Xian. That lady. Nan Xian sneered. I know who she is. Feng Ruqing's face darkened. Both Mu Ling and Qing Yan had hurt Siyi so badly. Now, she had even made her move on Feng Ruqing. Sponsored content. Perhaps, that lady is worried as Mu Ling can't wait to get me back to the Mu family. Hence, she purposely did this to make me think that Mu Ling is behind all these so that I would hold grudges against Mu Ling and we wouldn't interfere with each other after this. However, little did she know that since a long time ago, anything related to the Mu family has nothing to do with me anymore. Even since Nan Xian left the Mu family, he was no longer part of the Mu family. No matter what Mu Ling or Qing Yan did, it was all in vain. Qing'er, I won't let anyone hurt you. Nan Xian lowered his eyes as he smiled resolutely. Simply no one could hurt Feng Ruqing. I trust you. Feng Ruqing raised her eyes to stare at Nan Xian. She did not know why she had never lost trust in Nan Xian. It was as if her faith in Nan Xian was embedded in her soul and bones. It would never fade away no matter how many times of reincarnation. Nan Xian, you knew from the beginning that I am not the old princess, didn't you? Feng Ruqing smiled, faintly. I knew. I am not saying that I have changed. What I truly mean is that I am not her. I don't belong to this world in my previous life. However, I have a strong sense of belonging to everything in this world, as if I was born here. Feng Ruqing shook her head as she said. Moreover, there must be a reason that Feng Ruqing could take possession of this body. Just that she had yet to find out the reason behind all of this. Nan Xian's hand that was stroking Feng Ruqing's head stiffened. He wrapped her in his arms tightly. I only have a brother and a big doggy in my previous life. Now, they are all here with me. My brother is Chin Chen and my big doggy is the dark dragon. Both of them are extremely important to me. I can't turn my back on Chainer. No one can hurt him the slightest bit. Chapter 714 Nan Xian tightened his arms around Feng Ruqing. Sponsored content, just let me know what you want to do. I will give you a hand. As soon as Nan Xian finished his words, Feng Ruqing raised her head and gave him a quick and light kiss on his lips. Just as Feng Ruqing parted her lips, Nan Xian placed his hand at the back of her head and yanked her close to him. He leaned in and pressed his lips gently against hers once again. In the southern bamboo grove. A light gust of wind swept through the grove. The young master in a snowy white robe was stunningly handsome and unparalleled in this realm. The lady before him was devastatingly gorgeous. From afar, both of them looked more captivating than a beautiful painting. Nan Xian parted his lips after a long while. With one hand around her slim waist, both of them soared into the sky like a gust of wind. Not long after, they descended right before a wooden hut. Sponsored content. A faint fragrance lingered in the wooden hut. The wooden hut's interior was simple but elegant, just like Nan Xian's temperament, carefree and free from desire. Nan Xian took Feng Ruqing to a wooden bed and gently laid her down. Her hair fluttered in the wind, messy but did not in the slightest dim her beauty. Nan Xian's slender fingers slid through her tangled hair and landed on her cheek. Where is Shao Qing, the snake? Feng Ruqing asked, anxiously. Shao Qing has lost its way. It won't be back before tonight. The corner of Nan Xian's lips lifted. Sponsored content. Ah, that's great. Feng Ruqing raised her head. She put her arms around Nan Xian's neck and kissed him on his lips. She could taste the sweetness lingered between his lips and teeth. It was so delicate, like the taste of jasmine. She truly loved the taste of him. After a while, she parted her lips with a faint smile on her face. Nan Xian. Do you still remember that I ate the fruit that Qing Han had given to me in order to save my mother? It had nearly crippled all my meridians. I remember that. It's you who had saved me that day. However, I saw a man who looked like you inside of me. The only difference was that his hair was gray. Sponsored content. Hearing the lattice whispers, Nan Xian's hand that was stroking her hair paused as he stared her in the eyes. I have no idea if that was you, but I could feel that I know him. Feng Ruqing could feel the heart-wrenching sorrow behind the man's eyes. Like a sword that had pierced right into her heart, it was so painful that she had nearly broken into tears. The man was so elegant. He should not suffer from such pain. Also, I have taken a painting from Paramount. I don't know why, when I look at the painting, my heart aches. Feng Ruqing's smile faded and pain crept into her eyes. The pain in Feng Ruqing's eyes pierced into Nan Xian's eyes and broke his heart. He leaned over to kiss her, wildly. His kiss was no longer as gentle as before. It was so passionate as if he wanted to taste every bit of her. In Feng Ruqing's eyes, Nan Xian had always been free from desire. This was the first time Feng Ruqing saw Nan Xian behave like this. However, she did not stop him but simply raised her head to kiss him back. Qinger, will you marry me? Feng Ruqing's head tilted. She had always wanted to sleep with Nan Xian but she had never thought of marrying him. State Preceptor, tell me honestly. Since when did you start having the desire for me? Why have I never felt that? Feng Ruqing squinted as she smiled. If a dream was counted, it should be the year when Nan Xian was 5 years old. It was the first time his heart was broken. Chapter 715, In his dream, Feng Ruching was overwhelmed by a feeling of profound sorrow. He felt a tug on his heartstrings as he watched her face. Sponsored content. Nan Xian's fingers slid across Feng Ruching's cheek. Perhaps, it started since the day you told me that you wanted to sleep with me in the southern bamboo grove. Nan Xian did not tell her that it had started when he was 5 years old. Just that he did not manage to find her. Stunned, Feng Ruching broke into a smile. Her smile was so alluring and innocent. You are saying that you, too, wanted to sleep with me that day. Nan Xian sank into silence. Somehow, he could see a threat hiding in her smile. He knew that everything that he said did not seem to be right. Hence, he chose to remain silent. Sponsored content. State Preceptor, do you still remember that you told me before, if I want to sleep with you, my strength must surpass you? What can I do now? I still cannot defeat you. Feng Ruching smiled even wider. Feng Ruching had seduced Nan Xian so many times, but he did not seem to have any desire for her. It turned out that Nan Xian was just pretending all this while. Well, that's great. I said that you can do so when you can finally defeat me. What's the difference? Feng Ruching was dumbfounded. Nan Xian's arms were wrapped tightly around Feng Ruching's waist. They were so close that they could even feel each other's heartbeat. Sponsored content. You can defeat me now because I can never defeat you in my whole life. Nan Xian held Feng Ruching's hand gently and rested it on his face. Startled, Feng Ruching raised her head to stare him in his eyes. The young master before her was enchantingly handsome. The faint smile on his face was full of tenderness and affection. One could easily fall in love with him so deeply and they could hardly get out of it. Feng Ruching could not restrain the desire burning within her. Once again, she climbed up onto his body, toward his neck, hugged him tightly, and kissed him gently on his lips. A light gust of wind blew, their hair was entangled in the wind, their robe disheveled, their shoulders were half covered by thin pieces of fabric. Erotic. Sponsored content. Suddenly, the young master paused. He held on to Feng Ruching's head as he stared at her with passionate eyes. Qinger, give me some time. Feng Ruching opened her lustful eyes and stared at the young master before her. Give me some time. I will marry you when I have conquered the world. Nan Xian lowered his eyes, his hand was stroking her head, his smile was full of tenderness. Feeling startled, how could Feng Ruching tell Nan Xian that she never had thoughts about marriage on her mind? Marriage was nothing but a formality. She could spend a lifetime with him just the way they were now. State Preceptor, I have never feared criticism. Feng Ruching tightened her hand around Nan Xian and yanked him close to her. The world had never been fair for ladies. It was normal for a man to lose his chastity. However, if the same happened to a lady, she would be condemned and cursed. If the lady got pregnant before marriage, the overwhelming criticism from the people around could take her life. I know. Naturally, Nan Xian knew that Feng Ruching took no heed to criticism. However, I am afraid that I might lose my mind and kill all those who malign you. Moreover, Nan Xian wanted to give Feng Ruching the best thing in the world. He wanted to give her the whole world. Hence, he would marry her when he had finally conquered the world. All right. Feng Ruching's eyes met Nan Xian's. Her heart pounded, erratically. The corner of her lips subconsciously lifted. Nan Xian looked at Feng Ruching, as if wanting to say something, but eventually, he did not say a single word. Chapter 7:16, Qinger, you could spend a night here today. Sponsored content. Aren't you afraid that I can't control myself and eat you up? Feng Ruching smiled, faintly. No. If that was the case, he would throw away his reserve, sleep with Feng Ruching, and marry her after. Previously, Nan Xian was not the slightest bit interested in intimacy. However, after meeting Feng Ruqing, he seemed to have exhausted all his energy to control his desire for her. If Feng Ruqing continued seducing him, he might no longer control himself. Feng Ruqing subconsciously glimpsed at Nan Xian's private part. Seeing something protruding from his body, she could not help reaching out and squeezed it. State Preceptor, you truly have strong self-control. Feng Ruqing said with a teasing smile. Sponsored content, Nan Xian could only speak after a long while. Knowing that Nan Xian had spent all his energy to suppress his strong desire, Feng Ruqing stopped seducing him. Just as she wanted to leave him, Nan Xian stretched his arms to yank her into his embrace. He lowered his head to kiss her on her lips and roll around in a passion of love. Qing'er, Nan Xian's voice was so gentle and pleasant to the ears. Have you forgotten what you have just said? Feng Ruqing turned her head to look at Nan Xian with a smile on her face. Nan Xian did not say anything. He reached out to loosen up the string on her robe. In a flash, the robe slid down her body and onto the ground. Let's sleep. Nan Xian held her by her waist and put her down the bed. He took off his robe, got into the bed, and hugged her from the side. Sponsored content, I cannot sleep during the day. Don't worry. You will fall asleep when I hug you. Nan Xian was still staring at Feng Ruqing. He just could not take his eyes off of her. Nan Xian, only for today, all right? Nan Xian's voice was not as cold as it used to be, as if begging for her. Originally, Feng Ruqing's heart that was once pounding rapidly had finally slowed. Are you sure, you want to hug me like this? Aha! Nan Xian's lips lifted slightly. Sponsored content, then, don't you regret this? As soon as Feng Ruqing finished her words, she leaned closer to Nan Xian and closed her eyes slowly. As Feng Ruqing did not rest well these past few days, she was totally worn out and had quickly fallen asleep. However, Nan Xian did not seem to have a good rest. Feng Ruqing's body was not hot, but when she leaned against his chest, she was like a fireball, sweeping over his entire body. Currently, the lady in his embrace was only dressed in a thin transparent coat. His eyes slid down her body, over her collarbone. A beautiful curvy figure came into view. I shouldn't have let you off just now. Nan Xian put his arm around Feng Ruqing, his slender fingers slid through the hair on Feng Ruqing's forehead. However, he did not regret the things that he had done. He would never allow anyone to tarnish her reputation. Moreover, he would never hesitate to kill anyone who dared to do so. Feng Ruqing slept for one whole day. When she opened her eyes slowly, Nan Xian's stunning face came into view. A bright ray of sunlight poured down on him, making him look extremely cold and aloof. The corner of her lips lifted. Her fingers slid across Nan Xian's face. She lowered her head and kissed him on his lips. Without saying a word, she left and did not wake up the young master next to her. Feng Ruqing did not realize that Nan Xian had opened his eyes and was lost in thought right after she left. Half lying on the bed with a snowy white robe half covering his body, his face was devastatingly handsome like a deity who had descended from the sky. Chapter 717 After a long while, the azure snake crawled into the wooden hut from outside. Sponsored content, it seemed that Her Highness wants to leave Lu Yun Kingdom. Why don't you stop her? The azure snake asked after hesitating for a while. There is no need. I won't stop her from doing the things that she wants to do. If she needs a hand, she will let me know. Nan Xian's cold eyes were filled with a gentle smile. What if Her Highness refuses to do so? The azure snake asked, hesitantly. Then she must have her reason. Nan Xian trusted and respected Feng Ruqing. Hence, he would never ask her for too many things. He knew that Feng Ruching would tell him if she truly wanted to do so. Sponsored content. However, it seems that Qing'er does not fully rely on me. Go and get everything ready. We are leaving soon. Nan Xian smiled, faintly. Master, where are we going? Are we going to Tianshan Manor? The Azure Snake was slightly surprised. We are going after Qing'er. Wait, we will set off when she is 1,000 meters away. Otherwise, she will notice that someone is stalking her. Nan Xian paused for a while. Master, what are you doing? If you cannot bear to part with her, why don't you stop her from leaving? The Azure Snake was rendered speechless. Master, are you sure? Are we really going after Her Highness? I thought you said that you respect and trust her, the Azure Snake said hesitantly. Sponsored content. That's why I didn't stop her. However, it doesn't mean that I am fine with her to go alone, Nan Xian said, calmly. I think the people around Her Highness might be in danger instead, the Azure Snake said, fearfully. Nan Xian's chilly gaze was fixed on the Azure Snake. Stunned, the Azure Snake shook violently as it said, hastily, the people out there are too mean. Her Highness is such a weak lady. How could she handle them? We must go after her. We should secretly protect her. Nan Xian's face softened. However, yesterday was such a good chance. Why didn't you make good use of it? The Azure Snake blinked. Sponsored content. Do I look handsome? Nan Xian responded only after a long while. Dumbstruck by Nan Xian's words, the Azure Snake was lost in wonder. Since when has Master become a narcissist? Moreover, the Azure Snake was no human. How could it tell whether Nan Xian looked good? Many ladies have fallen for you and would pounce on you as soon as they see you. Hence, you must be very handsome. The Azure Snake answered after some time. If I no longer have this handsome face, Qing'er, would she still want to sleep with me? The Azure Snake's eyes widened in shock. Master has always been a cold and aloof person. Since when did he start to worry about personal gain or loss? He is actually worried that Her Highness wanted to sleep with him because of his handsome face. Master, is that the reason why you didn't grab the chance yesterday? No. The things that I had told her were true. I must marry her before having children with her. I don't want anyone to humiliate her. Then what you truly mean is, I want to get everything ready. If she wants to sleep with me because of my physical appearance, when I no longer have my stunning face, I will disfigure whoever approaches her. In that way, I will still be the most stunning man. The Azure Snake slithered backward. It felt that ever since Nan Xian had met Feng Ruching, he was getting more and more terrifying. What if he disfigured the Azure Snake? It had not found a female snake that it loved yet. Chapter 718. Nan Xian stared nonchalantly at the Azure Snake as he could read its mind. Sponsored content. She won't fall for a beast. Moreover, you are ugly. You are ugly. The three words were like three swords, piercing right into the Azure Snake. It was so painful that the Azure Snake burst into tears and nearly spat out a mouthful of blood. Master, I need to be respected too. Moreover, I am the best-looking snake in the snake clan. You could malign me but not the entire snake clan. Then I will replace all the spirit beasts around her with snakes. That would be a great relief. Wait, Master, what do you mean? Are you condemning the snake clan? Sponsored content. Nan Xian did not wait for the Azure Snake's response and walked out of the wooden hut. As soon as he stepped out of the hut, a deadly aura rushed toward Nan Xian from afar. A glimpse of viciousness flashed in his eyes. In an instant, he disappeared without a trace. Siyi was standing on a bustling street. Her cold gaze was fixed on the man before her. Her face was cold and nonchalant. "Siyi." Seeing Siyi once again, Mu Ling's voice was stuck in his throat. He could not resist the urge to walk forward and hold her hands. Seeing this, Siyi quickly retracted her hand to dodge him. Sponsored content. Mu Ling's outstretched hand was left hanging mid-air. He put down his hand slowly after a while. "You have always been simple. It would be fine if you were still in the mountains. However, people here are vicious. I am worried about you." Hearing this, Siyi's lips curved into a sneer. Mu Ling was right, there was a vicious man standing right before her now. "Siyi, when are you going back with me? It's the old master's birthday in a few months. He misses you so badly. Moreover, Qin Yan has moved out because of you." Mu Ling had always been true to Siyi. However, he owed Qin Yan too much and failed to keep his promises to her. So, he had made Qin Yan his concubine as it was his promise to her. Sponsored content. "Oh," Siyi said, indifferent. "I will be back on the old master's birthday. You can leave now. Don't disturb the life of our family of three." "Our family of three." Mu Ling smiled wryly. It seemed that Siyi really liked Fengruching. If Fengruching had a good family background, Mu Ling would take a step back and make her Nan Xian's principal wife. However, she had none. She was of no help to Nan Xian. "Siyi, you know that I have always missed you. Don't you know my feelings for you?" Mu Ling stared affectionately at Siyi. This time, Mu Ling was smart. He did not mention Fengruching. Siyi merely frowned. If not for the fact that she had a good upbringing and did not want to dirty the street, she would have thrown up. Suppressing the feeling of nausea, Siyi turned her head slowly to stare at Mu Ling. "I thought you only have Qin Yan in your heart. It had always been like that, it will be like that in the future." Mu Ling's face darkened. However, he did not burst with anger like he used to but suppressed the anger in his heart. "Siyi, you know very well that I would never have married you if I don't love you. Moreover, you were just an orphan back then," Mu Ling said, begging.